Hi, welcome to this week's case review from Shanesmithlaw. My name is Shane Smith, and I'll be talking to one of the attorneys at Shanesmithlaw about one of their recently settled cases. Hey, Thomas, we're here today to talk about a client's case you just recently resolved and settled for them. I know this was a bigger case where we were able to get a great result for the client. So tell me about this. Tell me about the accident itself.
The accident itself, our client was driving through Cherokee, North Carolina around 5:30 p.m. on a Tuesday in February. She had just gotten off work and it was a wet road and raining. And the at-fault driver was trying to leave commercial plaza, and when doing so, jetted out across 3 lanes of traffic, or at least attempted to do that before he turned head on right into our client, KP, I'll call her. She was driving the speed limit at about 45 miles per hour. Airbags deployed. They hit her in the face, hit her in the head, caused her some pain with that on itself. But at the scene, she had radiating pain going from her neck into her shoulder and her shoulder blades. Her pain was radiating further from her shoulders down into her arms and was causing numbness in her hands. Her left hip was so injured that it was basically immobilized. She was unable to lift it without reaching down and picking her leg up with her hands. She's also struggling to walk, had constant headaches, ended up going to the emergency room the next morning after the accident.
Okay. And did these resolve real quick, or how long did it take her to get better?
They definitely did not resolve very quickly. She had to treat for several months. She started with a chiropractor, went to a medical doctor, eventually learned that she had multiple disc herniations. She had them at T2, 3, at C6, 7, 5, and 6, also at L5 and S1, and also another herniation at T11 and 12. So she ended up having a discogram on July 21st. That's essentially an imaging test that helps the doctor determine if there's a specific abnormal disc in your spine that's causing your back pain. It's a procedure where they inject dye essentially into the soft center of one or more of those discs. That dye then moves into any cracks or in the exterior of the disc, and then those can be seen on X-ray or CT scan. Using those results, the doctor determined that she would have an anterior lumbar interbody fusion at L5 S1, and that ended up being the surgery that she had performed here.
Oh, wow. So she actually had back surgery.
She did, yes. And, it was a scary decision for her, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, it was something that she thought was best for her health and well-being and her ability to move and just have mobility for the rest of her life going forward.
And was the surgery successful? Did she heal?
From all accounts, it appears that it has been successful. She hasn't had any complaints. She feels like she's back to herself. There's certainly going to be some, impediments and restrictions on the way that she's able to move, but at the end of the day, it definitely seems like she's very happy with the results because she's not in pain anymore.
What did you learn from this case that you might be able to use to help some of your future clients?
The biggest thing definitely was essentially how hospitals will bill insurances in a situation like this. This was one where, Miss KP went to the hospital in a lot of pain the day after the accident, and they asked her what her insurance company was, if she had health insurance, and she said, well, the liability company is Geico. And she gave that was what the hospital put down. They put it down as the insurance on the situation. And what happened was, as the case went along, it could have been a situation where Blue Cross Blue Shield had been billed and cost less than what it would have been instead of going through liability. So what I learned, and I think what our team learned, was that we have to be really careful in terms of what the hospital is billing when the client has health insurance, because that can result in the case stretching out a lot longer than needs to be when you're trying to dispute an erroneous decision that the health insurance has made. Because here, by the time the error was caught, and it's an understandable error that Miss KP made in telling them it was the liability insurance, understandable error, but it ended up being one that cost us months in trying to appeal the health insurance decision and their timing guidelines. And So that was really what made this case take a lot longer, is trying to make sure that our client's bills weren't higher than they needed to be, and than they were entitled to be under her health insurer's contract.
So it sounds like not only did you end up fighting with the insurance company, but a bigger portion of the fight was actually fighting with our client's own health insurance company to make sure she got a fair result.
Exactly. And that's where the biggest obstacle came in here. It was trying to resolve that situation and simultaneously talking to the hospital's billing director and explaining to them what had happened and asking for reductions that were commensurate with what she would have received under health insurance. And ultimately we were able to do that by explaining what had happened. But again, it took longer than needed to because of what had happened at the beginning, where the liabilities insurance information was given rather than health insurance.
All right, so it sounds like you could have made a quicker decision, maybe settled the case earlier, but instead you chose to fight with the health insurance company longer to make sure she got a better result or more money in her pocket.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're about here at this firm, is making sure that the client is protected, their best interests are looked out for in this process. Because sure, we could have resolved it sooner and brought in, whatever it is in terms of a fee, but we're here to make sure that our clients get treated like they're part of the family.
All right, well, thank you, Thomas, and that sounds like a great result for that client. What kind of result did you get overall? Were you able to get it resolved for all the insurance money or insurance company's policy?
Yes, 100% of what insurance coverage was available here, which in this one was $100,000.
All right, so to restate, you got everything the insurance company had contracted for in that case, so there was no money left on the table.
Nothing left on the table. Everything came to the client. Everything was delivered. So.
All right, thanks. That sounds like a great result. Thanks a lot, Thomas.
All right. Thanks, Shane.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to today's call. Remember, if you're in pain, call Shane, 980-999-9999, or you can order our free book, Victim Survival Guide to Car Accidents, at www.shanesmithlaw.com. We'll be going over another case next week and hope something we can learn from that, and hope to see you there.
980-999-9999. 980-999-9999. Shanesmithlaw. In pain, call Shane.